Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Coffee with Carlson. Today is Monday, March 22nd, and it's been cold outside. If you were out at the Sebring races this weekend, you know what I'm talking about. It was windy and chilly. We were all really cold, trying to stay warm, wrapped up, and there were a few people that had small little gas fireplaces, if you will, out there that provided a little bit of warmth, but it was cold. Hope you had a great time if you did make it out there. Looks like I messed up the date somehow on my post on my show this morning. So I'm going to fix that since I noticed it. I hope you had a great weekend, even if you didn't go out to the races. It was actually beautiful during the day. Weather was great. Temperature was great. We had a really good time with family and friends. Saw some old friends, made some new friends. It was great, great time. Today, going to talk about the American Rescue Plan Act. Want to get that right. Take a few minutes to give you some highlights, how that may impact you. Going to start off with a nice warm cup of strangely warmed coffee. Hope you're enjoying yours at home. Let me just have a sip. I wanted to, as we've been doing the last few weeks, going to highlight some clients of ours. Today, I'm going to highlight the great folks over at Faded Bistro down in downtown Sebring, right down the street on North Ridgewood Drive at 420 North Ridgewood Drive. If you want to have a great lunch, have a great dinner, have a nice bottle of wine, or if you want to hit Sunday brunch, go to Faded Bistro and Beer Garden. Those guys are fantastic. Make a reservation, call them, make a reservation if you need to, especially on the weekends. Make sure you get a table where you want. But right now is eating outside weather, and they've got it. They've got it down there today and every day. All right, so I'm gonna jump right into this stuff and start hitting some of the. So let's talk about the big thing that came out last week. This is not part of the American Rescue Plan Act, but it is pretty big for a lot of filers. And I'm not sure that it's enough time, but the IRS did extend or not extend. They moved the deadline for filing personal income tax returns and paying the tax due from April 15th to May the 17th. Now, it's very important to note, last year they did this to July 15th, and that target change also moved your first two estimated tax payments, the one due in April and the one due in June, were moved to July 15th. That did not happen this time. You still need to make your estimated tax payments, the first one for 2021, by April 15th. So just keep that in mind. It's kind of a weird target, but you want to make sure that you get that in on time so that it's not late. The other important thing about the due date change is that I have a lot of clients with state income tax returns. Some of the states have already matched the change in due date with the IRS. Some states have not. And many states have also not followed in the changes in the American Rescue Plan Act. So have to keep track of your state and how they react. One of the big ones I'll just mention as we get down, before we get down the list, is the tax-free unemployment benefits up to $10,200. Many states have not enacted that change yet. So you want to keep track of this. Try to make sure that you marry all of the different rules out there. And let's just jump right in. So the act, if you haven't seen the webpage, Holland and Knight Law actually has a really good summary, 20-page summary, just the summary of the provisions of the act. They have it very well organized into different categories so that you can run through and read the parts that are important to you or that mean something to you and your family or your business. So if you want to take a look at that, if you Google search American Rescue Plan Act, hklaw.com was the, I'm not affiliated with them in any way, but they do have a very good summary. So the first part of the act that I think is important to everyone is unemployment compensation benefits. So if you're currently unemployed and you're collecting benefits, you know that those changed several times last year and the dates changed a lot. I know it's hard to get in touch with the Florida Department of Revenue and their reemployment insurance department. But if you are unfortunately unemployed and collecting unemployment benefits, the American Rescue Plan Act just extended the federal portion, $300 additional through September 6th of this year. So if you are on unemployment and that's your form of income right now, you're not working, we feel for you. We're sorry that you're in that situation, but you will get some additional assistance through that. Now, as part of that act, if you received unemployment benefits in 2020, up to 10,200 of that is now tax free. They didn't do that to everyone, but they did give that benefit to those that collected unemployment benefits. There's been a lot of discussion in some of my peer groups. Why didn't they just increase the standard deduction by 10,200 per person to give everybody that benefit, the ones that were lucky enough to continue working last year? But they did not do that. So it's $10,200 up to earn total income of $150,000. And I'm not sure what that, let me see, it says for those with incomes under $150,000. So just like the promise of no one earning under $400,000 will have to pay additional income taxes, we found out last week in a press conference that that means $400,000 for your family, not a person who makes over $400,000. So that's a pretty significant change. It's from what we originally thought was going to be $800,000 limit now to $200,000 per person limit. So it is a change. So $150,000. Now, the thing about a lot of these changes and the reason they extended the deadline is because the IRS hasn't told us how we're supposed to report this yet. Some preparers around the country have taken the tack that they're going to take the 200 and not report it at all, or reduce the unemployment benefit by that much on the tax returns, or make like a miscellaneous adjustment somewhere on the tax return for the $10,200. The problem with that is that total income flows through to other calculations that could have an impact on you. Your total compensation has an impact on taxability of Social Security, your rate for capital gains. There's all kinds of other forms that it impacts. So some have thought if they didn't have any of those ancillary calculations that they wouldn't use it. But I'm of the opinion that in order to make sure the return is right and no one has to redo it or get a letter from the IRS later, we're going to wait until that guidance comes out. So that's one of the reasons they extended that. We've already pulled, I think, about 5 returns and let the taxpayers know that we're going to hold off on processing theirs because of that, if they can save tax on that $10,200. There are many other provisions that also impacted 2020 tax returns, and the IRS is still trying to figure out how to do that as well. So let's jump right down. Stimulus payments, $1,400. The calculation of those, like last year, 18, 19, if you haven't filed your 2020 income tax return, they'll be calculated off your 19. I know some of those have already come out and been deposited into people's accounts. If you haven't gotten it for some reason, just like the 2020 credits, if you didn't get those, the $1,200 and the $600 that came out last year and this year, those are actually credits against your income tax on your 2020 income tax return. One of the reasons why we have to ask whether or not you got it so that we can net it out and you won't get it again. So if you don't get it for some reason, it will be a credit against your 2021 income tax. So not to worry, the money will be out there and you will get it. There were some changes to the child tax credit. This is a temporary change, fully refundable enhancement of the child tax credit up to $3,000 for children older than 6. I believe that's an under 17, still considered children. So something to think about if you have small children, and if that will impact this year's tax return. So we're not going to impact last year's for that. Earned income tax credit has also changed a little bit, loosening some of the eligibility requirements on types of income. We haven't seen the specific guidance on that yet either, but a little bit of a change there. Dependent care credit for paying for your children to go to daycare so that you can work. Those numbers have now gone up. The limitation was 1,000. That limit went up to 4,000 now. Something very important, couple things important for businesses out there. The credit for paid sick leave. This is a 80-hour credit for people that are directly impacted by COVID and unable to work. If they got COVID, if they have to care for someone with COVID, or if the business was closed temporarily due to COVID, that ended December 31st. That now has been extended to September 30th of 2021. So I know I have some business clients. We were working on this. If you're in that category, let's think about it. If you have someone who hits that credit, trying to check these things off my list. One other very important, the two big things that hit the American Rescue Plan 2020 are the tax-free unemployment benefits up to $10,200 and the premium tax credit as part of the Affordable Care Act. So if you received the advanced premium tax credit for your Affordable Care Act insurance through the healthcare marketplace, this is if you got Obamacare and you're getting a credit, so it costs $1,500 and you're only paying $200, it means you're going to get a Form 1095A at the end of the year showing how much the government subsidized your health insurance. Some people, due to changes in income from year to year, have had to pay significant numbers back to the IRS for overpaying that credit. And part of the American Rescue Plan Act was to expand that credit for health insurance, and I believe make you not have to pay part of it back for last year, 2020. But we don't know how those calculations are going to flow yet. It still has not been determined by the Internal Revenue Service. How long have we been on here? Okay, just about done then. So one other important thing for businesses, this hasn't happened yet, but I wanted to go ahead and point it out. Congress last week, the House of Representatives in Washington, passed an extension to the Payroll Protection Loan Program, is currently set to expire March 31st. So if you haven't gotten your application in for that and they've changed the calculations a little bit on that, we helped a few clients file some last week. Try and rush to your bank and get that in now. If you haven't gotten it, if you qualify for the second round, you need to get that application in now as well. Congress voted the House of Representatives voted to extend that deadline from March 31st to May 31st. That now goes to the Senate, and I have not seen that the Senate has taken it up and approved that yet. So there's a possible extension, but if you haven't applied for that yet, go ahead and try and do that as quickly as possible, and you do that right through your bank. If you haven't filed your payroll protection loan forgiveness application, that's something it doesn't expire on March 31st, but you need to get that in as soon as possible so that you can get that paperwork rolling. We helped the client file one last week, going to help another client file one this week. Okay, I covered a lot of stuff here. I was on my summary page, so let me see. Good morning, Mrs. Swain. I hope you're having a great day, and I hope you made it out to the track for a few minutes this weekend. I think that's about it for the American Rescue Plan Act. You could probably hear that paper flipping for the American Rescue Plan Act today. If you have any questions anytime, give us a call at 863-382-4141. Check us out at www.carlsonaccounting.com. You can even schedule an appointment right there on my webpage for either a virtual meeting, in-person meeting, or telephone conference call. Whatever works for you, whatever you feel more comfortable with. If you need an appointment, give us a call, schedule it on our website. We have plenty of time slots available for you, and we'll try to make it for you as much as possible. To all of our clients out there, due to a lot of these changes we've had, similar to last year, it's been a little bit of a bumpy ride tax season so far. So apologies, we are a little bit behind in our returns, but I'm going to try and work a few extra hours this week. My wife will give me a few hours off from home improvements, which I work on after I leave here in the evening. All right, everyone. Thank you very much. Have a safe and happy week. We're honored to be part of your morning, and I hope you have a blessed day. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful afternoon and morning.